Many of you are asking for an update on the Solomon Silk Galloway case. Mr. Galloway is my client. He's a black man who owns a Lexus, who got caught up in a saturation event in Las Vegas, Nevada, in one of the poorest black neighborhoods. Now, he was a passenger. They got pulled over for allegedly speeding, and my client was the passenger, and the police were demanding that he identify himself. Now, Mr. Galloway knew the law better than the officers. NRS 171123, and Heibel is the United States Supreme Court case that says specifically that the duty to identify is triggered when there is reasonable suspicion. And I ask you, what is the reasonable suspicion of the passenger of a car when the car is allegedly speeding? There is none. In fact, in the motions and in all the filings that we had with all the attorneys, no specific reasonable suspicion for Mr. Galloway was ever alleged, ever. So Mr. Galloway was right. I took the case. There was 3 motions that I filed. One motion was dealing with the speeding allegation. The other with an alleged Brady violation by the police. They were telling each other to turn off their body cams at certain times, and I believe hiding illicit conduct. And then there's the Heibel issue, which I'm going to concentrate on today. Now, we know that the officers weren't doing good things. Why do we know? Because Mr. Galloway had a video camera, and he was able to catch them saying some things that are pretty disturbing. When they couldn't find weed in the car, one of the officers turned to the others and said, "Do what you got to do, because we got to find something." Now, tell me how that's appropriate. When the lieutenant didn't know he was being recorded and confronted the officer that claimed to smell weed and said, "I got a big-ass nose, too, and I didn't smell it," the lieutenant was saying he never smelled the weed and he was there. The officer starts then joking about sniffing my client's crotch. And then he says he wants to arrest him so that he can strip him. And that's exactly what happened. They treated my client like an animal. They arrested him, they strip searched him. It was demeaning. And my client, all he did was properly exercise his constitutional rights. There was a time when they asked him to get out of the car. He asked for a supervisor. They granted him his request, and he was simply waiting for the supervisor. Another officer came and escalated the situation. The supervisor showed up, told him to get out of the car. He started trying to talk to the supervisor. The supervisor said, "You have the count of 3 to get out of this car. Do you hear what I'm telling you?" And they yanked him out of the car without ever counting to 3. A contingent order on the count of 3. And they still yanked him out of the car. And they treated him like an animal. So I had these motions. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, Mr. Galloway passed away. I fully expected to go into what was supposed to be a hearing surrounding the speeding allegation. I fully expected the city attorney to dismiss the charge because he had passed away. I went in today, and they didn't dismiss the charge. They said they needed evidence. So the case is still open. And so I immediately withdrew all motions that needed a hearing. The judge has had these filings, the judge has had all this information for an extended period of time, and I withdrew all motions that needed a hearing because she set it out 30 days. There isn't enough proof for the city attorney to be satisfied and dismiss the charge. The city attorney decided to keep this case open for another 30 days. So I asked the judge, after voluntarily withdrawing all motions that required a hearing, I asked the judge to rule. And the judge refused my request. Denied my request for her to rule on those things that she has in an open case when evidently there isn't enough evidence for the city attorney to drop the case, and the case is still open. The judge refused. I mentioned to the judge that this was important to a lot of people. It was important to the family. I know it was important to Silk. It's important to me. It's important to the black community. And I mentioned all these things. I even mentioned the fact that a lot of people showed up to the last hearing. And she said, "Oh, I'm well aware of that." And she denied my request. So in 30 days, Silk's criminal case will be dismissed. We have to look to see if there's anything else we can do because Silk has passed away and he can't testify. Now, on what I hope to be a completely unrelated matter, before I entered the courtroom, I was approached by another attorney who was expressing some frustration with the district attorney's office because he was trying to get body cam footage of whatever case that he had. And the district attorney didn't want to give it to him, specifically because they had complaints from the Las Vegas Police Protective Association that some of the footage is getting disseminated and it's making them look bad. By the way, if it's making you look bad, you should probably change what you're doing, because cameras are your friend when you're doing the right thing. So he was talking to me because they used me as an example. They used Silk's case as an example. All I did was release the video in a misdemeanor case. And now the Police Protective Association is complaining to the district attorney and trying to get the district attorney to not release body cam videos to attorneys because they don't want to look bad. I really hope this is unrelated. Really do. But my judge is Susan Roger. The attorney for the Police Protective Association is David Roger. Take it how you will. Those are the facts. God bless.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I'd like to thank you for all your years of support through the years. As a result, this channel has grown and allowed me an equity partnership in carmarshal.com. Please take the time to check them out. They help you buy and sell your next car, even have a negotiating tool to save you from the hassle of haggling with multiple dealers. The link is in the description below. Please click and help support and give if you can too through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks again.